Hello, YouTube, and everybody else watching this anywhere else in the future. I am Dave or Lisa. I prefer they, them pronouns. This is the Theory Plebe channel, and I'm really excited to have you all here for the 1,000 sub live stream. This is a sort of celebration of breaking that benchmark. It's not entirely arbitrary just because it's 1,000. Actually, the YouTube, can we make it so I don't want to see myself because that's really, it's like got this lag going on. Just make the screen good. Just put it off to the side.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, distraction, but no, you can just like push it over like that.
Hey, would you look at that? Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Anyway, thought it would be really cool just to have whoever was in the video who wanted to join for like kind of a loose form conversation on where we can kind of touch on any or all of the questions that got raised. I see Mikey is in the chat. What's up, Mikey?
Hello.
Radical reviewer. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, great to have you as well. There were lots of like really okay. First of all, I'll just say like. This is by far my biggest project I've done, and I've never, that was a lot of crossovers, and I really appreciate everyone for doing all of that. And then I've gotten like lots of really nice feedback, lots of people just saying great editing, blah blah blah. That's really cool. I worked hard for that, but there's also like, I don't know, questions that are more directly related to the content that are worth kind of talking about. This isn't like, I don't know, for me. And especially like one of my friends is highly critical of the video, and we had a conversation last night where she was basically talking about some of her like big concerns, and they were all legitimate. And even if they're not brought up in the actual comments of the video or in the live stream, I'll make sure to touch on those. I just want to mainly say that like the content is a lot of this is like just where I'm thinking through things, and also just drawing off a bad dude who knows. Questionable because they're a human being anyway. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I just want to give everyone else a chance to introduce yourself. You can say whatever you want about yourself, just your name, or you can kind of like talk about what you did in the video.
Okay, well.
It's your boy, Darren.
It's your boy, Darren. Yeah, I obviously do not look like Darren right now, but my name is Anne, and I just did weird, can I curse? I did weird shit in that video, basically, and portrayed the stereotypical pickup artist, and it was really fun, and I'm glad. I hope people enjoyed my randomness.
Also, if you haven't seen, there is this video online on the New Civilization Club YouTube channel page called
Manly Man, but Anne, because my name is Anne, it's clever. We're clever.
The M is, but yeah, it's Manly Man responds to Richard Wolff.
The Richard Wolff talk that NSP brought to Boise,
where he critiques Peterson's stupid take on Marxism, basically. So
yeah, that's fun too. So that's me.
Should I go next?
Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Kaylee. My nickname is Kiwi. That's what like a ton of people call me. Even like at work and stuff, not just online. I run a YouTube channel with my husband, Scooter, and we do videos on like music and various political topics, and then just random like artsy stuff, and like kind of current events. It's kind of like a pretty random channel. And yeah, basically in the video, I had a really fun time playing the person who needed to go to the Center for Game Recovery. And yeah, I have kind of known Dave and Anne and met them kind of an interesting way, and have had a really fun time getting to know them better, making videos with them, and it was really fun to be a part of it. So, and it's nice to meet all you guys.
Hey. So do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I'm Chrissy. I have a channel on YouTube, Chrissiosity. I do just various videos about, whatever feminism or class or media or whatever is going on. And that's pretty much it.
Also, it's nice to meet you, Christiosity. It's my first time meeting you, and I've seen
nice
your
meeting
videos,
you.
and I really, really like them. So.
Aw, thank you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
So my name is Michelle, and I'm here as somebody who's mostly here to learn from all of you. So I'm excited.
Thank you.
Great.
Yay. It's
Yay.
exciting. It's awesome that you were able to make it. Let's dive right into some of these questions. Does anybody have okay, first of all, comments wise, the Dangerous Maybe said 124 notches.
All the notches.
Yeah.
Scooter is Kaylee's SO, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah, he's my partner, and he should be actually joining us soon. He just went next door to grab something, so but he'll be here in a moment to come say hi to us. And he played the individual who had to act as all the different paths available to people in a modern world. So
Yes.
he was the deadbeat, the careerist, and the martyr. If you guys remember that from the video, that was my partner. So. And
and as a result, he gets to have his face on the thumbnail 3 times.
Yeah. Well,
He
I
was
liked
laughing
his
so hard
martyr.
when we watched the video. Like, he's really, yeah, we both were, but he, like, how you used all of his different scenes, he loved it. Like, he had no idea from, like, what we filmed, kind of how it was all gonna, like, fit together, and we were just cracking up at, like, how you used it. It was amazing. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
Chrissy was saying something.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought his martyr was just the best. I just loved it. It cracked me up so much. Like the coffee.
Yeah, and we grew up Mormons, so that was really like fun for us to get to like dramatically portray that.
Yeah, you can dunk on Mormons because you're Mormons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I can dunk on fundamental Christians for the same reason. Actually, I think everyone should dunk, but you know, maybe be nice about it. I don't know. I think people should be nicer about it. But I mean, the funny thing about using Mormons as the example is because it's like Mormons are often in extremely privileged positions where radicality is usually absent from their fundamentalism, even if they are super fundamentalist. And it's actually like in terms of the 3 modes of life, it's Mormons have almost like perfected being the careerist and the martyr. At least any Mormon I've ever met, you know, like who else do you meet who through their church is doing like financial and marketing like workshops at people's homes like every week, you know?
Yeah.
There's Scooter. Hi, Scooter. You want to say anything?
I would just like to say that you did such a great job in your video, and I had a blast watching it, and it was fun being a part of. You are amazing.
Thank you. You're okay. No, seriously though, improv is one of my favorite things just ever as a form of comedy. And I mean, like for instance, like any show that when you realize what's going on was improv, the comedic value is just enhanced, right?
I agree.
And so the fact that you both, Scooter and Ann, were doing all of this improv was like, it made it like really fun. Cause also like I get really self-conscious hearing myself talk for more than 5 minutes in a row. And I do talk for more than 5 minutes in a row there. And so it's like, oh, comedic break. Oh.
I have to say though, my favorite character, my wife she's okay. It's good. But my favorite character was Anne, with the dancing, the fuckboy dancing.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. You fit into that character a little too well.
Chrissy, what?
I was just gonna say I love that line. What was it? I'm gonna get you racking up the mad puss. Like, oh my god. I died.
You wanted me to say mad puss somewhere in there. Like, stop the process. I said mad puss too much.
Wait, me? What?
You?
I had no interest in this
Okay,
whatsoever.
you just wanted me to say mad puss and drink LaCroix.
That
Done.
was the two ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually, I think it was Angie Speaks in the Steve Bannon video, which is, by the way, one of the best videos I've ever seen, ever. But it was her little part in there where I think she was basically, talking about Chads and stuff. And I think she said mad puss. Like, that was in my head. And so that was kind of a reference to that, but I don't know if that's actually what she said. It was just the impression I have. So, but yeah.
I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Pretty good
Something.
phrase.
Well, it's worth revisiting. It's only one of the videos ever. So
I
let's go.
imagine it as angry, like mad puss, just like some really angry, pissed off puss, you know? Yeah.
I've
All
had those days, you know.
Absolutely.
It's funny, like, I forget how much of my diction is working class until I realize that saying something like mad this or mad that is actually not a thing that like everyone at the university says. And then I'm like, oh. Like, I don't think that's the example. It's something else that I say, like, but it's thrown people off a couple times to the point where I just stopped using. I've stopped using a lot of things I used to say. Some of them
hella too much.
are straight up bad, but other ones are just weird.
I've started to try to incorporate like British slang, but with my American accent. Like, I'll call people chap
Lad.
or lad, and they get really like thrown off by it, like really bad. Like, I'll say, "How's it going, chap?" And they're like, "Excuse me." You should try it. Like, people stop in their tracks. Like, it's really interesting.
They stop in their chaps.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, let's see. So some of these comments. First of all, Radiant 2Pi said something, and that was really cool because their videos are amazing. But basically, they've been wanting to use a green screen and do a vaporwave thing like that. And you know what? It's just one of those things where it's like, I've really wanted to do it, but I've been like waiting for the right thing to do it. And it was like I was probably like over 10 hours into this video project, and then I realized, oh, this is the place to do it. Perfect.
Yeah, it's nice to have a green screen for sure.
And the Mary Poppins thing. I loved that.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
I told somebody a lie. I told them that I got called a Mary Poppins online, and so I had to do it. But it's actually not true. I did not get called a Mary Poppins online. I think that was completely self-inflicted. I think it was just like in a certain coat I was wearing. I was like, I just look like fucking Mary Poppins with this umbrella. Then,
Yeah, well, we were like walking through the rain one day, like holding your umbrella, and that's where you first proposed the idea. I don't know when you had been thinking about it. You're like, yeah.
You told me someone else called you Mary Poppins.
yeah, okay, you're the one I lied to. Okay, I realized it after the fact that it wasn't true. But and now I've come clean. But
Okay.
the spirit of it is true though, because I've been called Madeline, who's the little French
Little
cartoon
girl
girl.
with
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that show. Wow.
Yeah. And then I've also been called, and that was by a professor here on campus who, he's a real commie at heart. I like him a lot, and not because of that. Like, it's completely separate. But he's just a great guy. Anyway, but he was just like, oh my God, you look, and I was like, thank you. I know. Yeah.
Have you heard of the wait, go back. What are you doing? I can't see what I'm doing.
Gotta finish that thought. Just gotta finish that thought to say that it was basically someone being like, "What fucking La La Land is this guy from?" In the Jordan Peterson no, the Richard Wolff response to Jordan Peterson on our school's Jordan Peterson on Marxism video, because I open in that for that and talk for way too long. And in my talk, like I'm wearing a dress and have a bow in my hair, and that video just broke 100,000 views. It has there's an abridged version on my own channel that has a lot fewer views, but like no, the 100,000 view one is up on YouTube, and it's got like over 2,000 comments, and I think probably maybe a quarter of them are just comments on me, and none of the comments on me are like, "Oh my god, I love that bow." What do you think you are? Like, oh, I realized I didn't have to listen to this the moment I saw that fucking faggot.
Like, that's real.
God.
Yeah. So
sorry. I need to go
but actually, and the thing is like Anne was like hell bent on deleting all the comments, and basically she only deletes the worst ones now, because I was like, leave as many as you can, because people need to see what the reaction is from that fan base.
Another huge win for the marketplace of ideas.
Yeah. For real though. That's even like the even my video on like why I left the left and came back, which is like only what like 8,000 views, like almost so few views. Even the people that get angry about it, they're like, "Oh, of course your hair is purple," or like they're just so angry, like at this appearance.
Or the guy that started talking about international Jewry.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, like these are the people that are angry about this, like. This is our opposition, you guys.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing where I get talks about being Jewish too. Like people throw anti-Semitic slurs at me, and I find it befuddling. Just because no. Yeah. I don't understand where you're getting that. Like, I don't know. All right.
Yeah, that's one thing where like
it's where cultural Marxism comes from.
Yeah. When I found that out, I was like, oh yeah.
That's Chrissy? I've been looking for their cultural Marxists.
Yeah.
You're on to me now.
You did say feminism. I understand that feminism was something entirely invented by Adorno and Horkheimer for the purpose of undermining Western civilization, of course.
And I am all about that. So,
Christina G said that the martyr's right. Coffee did make them gay. So
I knew it.
So, and by the way, that one accelerated really fast. We didn't really know where we were going with the martyr. That one was it just came right out of Scooter's head. Well, I guess it was a collaborative thing. We were all kind of just like throwing ideas around, but blowing up a Starbucks was never on the radar until about 10 minutes before it happened. It just so happens that they live very close to a Starbucks, and it was just irresistible.
And you suggested that I do it, but I was feeling like a coward that I didn't want to do it. But I was like, what would Eric Andre do? Or like, what would they wouldn't
ask?
They wouldn't be a coward.
Kelly, I love that comment. If you're not a cis-het white man with undyed hair, it's international Jewry. Well, and that comment came from like me saying that like I'm Jewish, and like I was accidentally like when I was watching all these like right-wing content creators like a year ago, I was like accidentally enabling all these like white nationalists who like didn't even like Jewish people, and I didn't even really like fully realize that. And then people started like commenting stuff because I said I was Jewish. I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, did we lose Michelle?
Yeah, Michelle said that she got disconnected.
Oh, all right, that happens.
Yeah.
Max accidentally.
You should be able to rejoin, but whatever. I'll message her. But anyway, what were you saying, Scooter?
Oh, I was talking about Max in the comment. He's talking about PJW. Conservatism is the new punk rock.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone who is remotely like him, Paul Joseph Watson, ever doing anything remotely punk rock?
I don't think he even is aware of like any of like the lyrics of any punk rock band. There's never been like a conservative punk rock band that's ever even like gotten close to underground success.
About being
Yeah.
in Austin, he spent too much going out to eat, like as if like that's not a problem that I would also be upset about, like as if that's something that leftists are like, that's their fault, like that he's spending $30 on like a small meal in Austin, Texas. Like that's completely a problem of capitalism. And Shapiro's the new hip hop. That's amazing. That's such a good comment.
Screwdriver sucks.
I honestly believe that the Paul Joseph Watsons, though, and even Shapiro's could turn on a dime on economic issues and not change on anything else if their base called for it. And I think that Tucker Carlson is slightly in that direction with his like
doing that. Absolutely. Watch
populist
Tucker every night.
rhetoric. Yeah.
Yeah, we watch him every night. Try to keep an eye on that motherfucker, dude.
Oh my God. Do you really?
Yeah.
He's sneaky.
Yeah. Seriously, he scares me. He's probably gonna win the Awful Pundit tournament, though.
The what?
There's this thing going on Twitter called the Awful Pundit tournament, where it's been like a 16 thing, like 16 pundit tournament where there's like votes every week, and the final two is going to be Shapiro versus Carlson, like Tucker Carlson. They're going to make it to the final two, and I don't know who's going to win. I'm hoping Tucker Carlson's got it in the finals, but Shapiro might have a bigger audience. I don't know. No
River Ransom says Nazi punks fuck off.
Yeah, I get behind that.
You do get behind that. You even say it in your video.
That's the final line of my video.
Yeah, Dead Kennedy's reference.
Yeah.
We're the new punk rock.
For me, I was a little late to the game, and I was into like more like metalcore when I was in the music scene, and so like for me, it was never really punk anyway. But Straight from the Path has that song where they say Nazi punks fuck off, and it was in the Goodnight Alt-Right video that got them a lot of backlash, but it's basically an Antifa video. And so that's how I actually found out about the Dead Kennedys reference in the first place. There you go. I'm not punk rock. But Straight from the Path is close enough in my opinion.
I actually did part of a debate where my argument, somebody else was arguing it was the new punk rock, and I was like, no, it's just the new hair band metal. That's exactly what it is. I lived through it the first time. It's the same fucking thing. They wish.
Absolutely right.
I always got into punk rock because of the politics, though. That was like my favorite. That was like when I was like growing up in like 2004 during like the Bush Kerry election. That's when I really got into like NoFX, and like that's like going to those shows was the first time I was like introduced to like left-wing politics even at all.
Wow. Yeah.
We're youngins.
The first people I met who were politically woke at all were punks at a place that I worked at. And I was like fresh out. I wasn't even out of my house yet. I was still living at home. And for those who don't know much about my backstory, I'll just say that raised very, sheltered, conservative, fundamentalist Christian. And so, and that includes like homeschool and stuff like that. And so like, I remember thinking like, these people are fucking cool. And like, they wanted nothing to do with me. And then I deeply resented them. And then like a year later, I was like, oh, I know why.
Yeah, the first, oh God, this is back, I want to say this is early 90s. The first like communists that I interacted with were punks. And it was like, I went there almost by accident because somebody had invited me out to like some Boston band to go see them. And I'm going to the address because I think it's going to be like a like a club or something, and I'm dressed all in like 90s slutty glitter stuff, all the stuff. And I end up at this communist grocery store with like these old vegetables and Marxist pamphlets. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? And then around back in the like the loading zone, they had pushed all the boxes and crates away, and they were having this punk band. It's like, oh, well, this is different. So, all right, I could do this.
My
Yeah.
cousin actually gave me a bunch of anarchist zines, like that were like, because he knew that I was into punk music, and he tried to radicalize me. He just like gave me like this whole shoebox full of like anarchist zines, and like there's like some real sketchy shit in there, like how to make a pipe bomb, and like there's a story about this guy like on Christmas who would dress up as Santa Claus and like ride his bike around to all the banks and give like the banks a lump of coal.
A lump of coal. Oh, that's great. You could like send it to them in those chutes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Deposit.
Make a deposit.
Yeah.
Just
So
use it to like totally destroy the ATM machine. Just jam it in there.
So
Hey, one
what?
size fits all. We have a song called One Size Fits All. Wait, it's called One Size Fits Most.
So comments. Let's just I want to touch on a couple of these. One of them, I want to read this one especially. Katie T says, I only wish I could go back to school for my master's degree in parentheses, but I'm older and so probably wouldn't qualify for student aid. Plus I have to spend my time figuring out how to make income. This is a great message, but unfortunately it's only for those who have the time and money to pursue it. River Ransom, who's in the chat actually, and has been talkative, thankfully. Hi, River, has said, I know that feeling. Until we can change the systems, it can feel like a trap. I feel that with the building of relationships and the natural development of mutual interests and skills, we can find intrinsic value beyond those official current avenues, which can often be placed outside our reach. Katie T responded, I agree, but how, honestly? It seems like this whole movement is only specifically targeted towards college-age students who are also privileged, which is fine, but sad for the rest of us. And then they said, LOL, but they had a crying emoji.
Yeah.
And I responded, and then they responded, and then someone else responded. But I'll hold off on my response for a sec, and I just want to see if anyone wants to weigh in.
I think I could, because I'm an older person, and I've always been working class, and I was not able to go to college. Not really. I went to like community college and took classes here and there wherever I could, but I could never like enroll. And now I'm sort of out of the workforce in that sense. I'm a stay-at-home mother, and I'm not going to be going to college now either. So, you know, it's sometimes it is a difficult situation. But what I would say is that does not mean that you cannot be very much a vibrant part of a leftist sphere. You know, it's first of all, I feel like I have a lot of life skills that I could help with. You know, I don't know what is even helpful to people, but you know, I can cook, I can grow my own food outside. I know how to do different things that your average 20-year-old probably doesn't know how to do. Like I can knit, I can sew, I can do first aid and things like that. I mean, these are all by themselves, I think, fairly random skill sets that may or may not help anybody. But I feel like together, I can, you know, I have a ball of skills that I can give. And it's about finding where I fit and what my, you know, what I have to offer. it may not be the same thing that a person who has an education. I'm not anti-education. I think if you can get an education, you definitely should. I definitely would have. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, I'm so put on, I'm so working class, and you guys aren't. Like, that's not the point at all. It's just the way that the world works sometimes, you know, shitty things happen. So that's what I would say.
And I think I think that's a really good way to look at it. That it's kind of think about where you fit in. Because I have a complicated feeling about getting a college education as well. Because I also don't know, like, you know, I've switched my major like a million times, and I'm not going to school right now. Because I kind of struggle with like how I'm going to kind of like commodify what I want to do in a way that will be like fulfilling to me or like useful, how I can make myself useful and also happy at the same time. And
Or at
so
least
I
not miserable.
like to break from going to school for a long time and then like go back when I feel like I'm being like useless, you know, or just like wasting my time again. And so I don't know, I'm like that young age and also very privileged, and I'm not really moving forward in any meaningful way with my education. When I could qualify for like a good amount of aid, but even with the aid that I could qualify for, I still would then have to get in some debt or pay for, you know, a few $1,000s a month, even for like my local state school with in-state tuition that's very inexpensive compared to, you know, 30 grand a year or whatever that like my sister paid for her college. So it's just, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, and what you want to do. And I think that for me, it's about finding like ways that I can feel like I'm being useful. Like, and I think that making music, I know that I've helped people who've like listened to it, kind of deal with like their mental health issues, because that's how I kind of process my mental health issues, and that's what people have said they've gotten out of it. And like making videos is a way that I kind of like make art and spread like a message to people, and that's definitely like a thing that I'm doing. And then maybe I will go back to school again and get like a teaching degree or something that's like useful in some kind of way, or so I think being flexible to how you can fit in, and you know, that's how I look at it at least. So I don't know.
The thing I'm going to say really quick is just that my response to them was basically that in the true life, Badu, who is an old man, like super old man, he kind of starts with like, why would an old man be talking to a bunch of high schoolers, you know, and what could an old man possibly have to say? And he's like, well, I've seen some things. You know, he was there in 1968 when students and workers shut France down. He's been a revolutionary his entire life, and he has dedicated his entire life to what he calls fidelity to the idea of this egalitarian civilization. And he doesn't like think that old people have all the answers for young people, but they have useful tools. And for me, like, that's basically a sort of litmus test. I don't want to fucking talk to anybody who's old who thinks they've got all the answers for me. No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that from anybody. And there's nothing more annoying than someone who's been like, well, I've been around the block a few times. Now I fucking know. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. You know, and someone said in response to my comment, like, yeah, this sounds like a practical, great idea practically, but how do you implement it in reality? You know, basically kind of like the sounds good in theory, but what about, you know, the messy reality? They're like, how they say it's going to be, you know, how do you work with people who are set in their ways? How would you go about convincing someone in their 60s or 70s of your vision? And I just want to, so I have a not very well formed theory of social change that I hope to really flesh out better over time. But right now, it's like that tipping point idea that it really only takes a small but well organized people all over the world or whatever region change is trying to be affected in, to make ripples, and that we're not taught, and that I specifically said a multi-generational struggle over the next 50 to 100 years. I say if someone's been plugged into CNN, Fox, or whatever, MSNBC for the last 40 years, yeah, okay, sure, show them some ContraPoints videos or whatever, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Ultimately, you can bring them arguments or whatever, but they're very set in their way of seeing the world, and that's ultimately like, why are we trying to win people? I think it's for me, it's about working with people who are already there. I've connected with people in this city who have been extremely isolated for the last 30 years. One of whom just retired. He said that he's felt completely isolated. He didn't think there was anybody like him for the entire time that he's lived here. He's just one of a few older people that are radical. And they've been radical all along. And the thing about capitalism is it makes it really fucking hard to build community. And building community is a radical act. And I am a testimony to how that can fail in my own ways. Because we all have probably experienced wanting to be there and working with and building community with other people, and then just realizing we don't have what it takes in terms of time, energy, and attention. And so it sucks. It sucks that capitalism, that profit exploitation is fundamentally built on sucking away time, energy, and attention, and that those things are fundamentally necessary for building community, culture, and even your own personal skills, or even pursuing any kind of opportunity that you could find meaning in. And so that means that in terms of organizing work, it sucks. It really sucks when people don't show up reliably to things. I've wanted to put out a video, and I've been thinking about it, where it would basically be, and I would basically want to work with other organizers like Ryan, who just their biggest struggle is not it's not reaching out to new people. It's seeing people who genuinely care, who say that they're there in it, who show up twice a year. And it's you're putting everything you have into building something, and the people who show up, and they want to have the red carpet rolled out for them, and they want to have every opinion that they say listened to for 3 hours while they problematize stuff, and then you're very gracious, and you're yeah, we want to accommodate that because we want you to come back because we're trying to make this for everybody, but then they don't come back. Oh, fuck off. So just fuck off. And so guess what older people are good at? Doing things reliably.
Showing up and
being there. They're really good at that. And it's actually older people who run this city, because it's mostly retired or housewife-ish types of people who get to sit on all the councils and go to all the meetings and sit in the town halls and stuff like that. They make themselves known because they're busybodies, because they have no life. And it's well, for me, it's been trying to figure out ways that I don't have to get a life, so that I am able to do things like that. And I'm not saying that I do all the time, but I'm trying. So it's my take.
Cosign.
I agree. I mean, I like what you're talking about of trying to speak to the sort of CNN, Fox News generation. If you're trying to get your ideas across to someone that's not going to listen, it's pretty much just a waste of your time. And there's a couple people, there are so many people in our society who are just too far gone. And you're totally right about there are people that exist within our community who 100% are down with the cause, and they just maybe haven't even heard it yet, or they don't 100% know what they believe in, but they agree with a couple of key principles, and it'd be very easy to convince this. It just is a redirecting of focus.
Two comments. Honestly, marketing said gardening with old folks is a radical act. Yeah, so is spelling folks with an X. Because I did it once and then I got nothing but shit for it from a bunch of people in the space that I was an admin for, because basically everybody thought that I was saying we should all have to say it that way now. And I was like, sorry, Jesus Christ. I'm just fucking with you. Anyway, and then Tala Ahmed said, what is your final vision like? It seems to me that a social safety net is an inevitability as tech takes over more jobs. So I don't know. I don't want to hog space and keep talking right now, unless anybody wants to, because I got thoughts on that, but you know.
Can we say?
I think it already should be what's happening, because I think that, like I said, when I read that book, Bullshit Jobs, you know who it's by, Dave, right? Bullshit Jobs. I forget what the guy's name is. But there's already a lot of jobs that are unnecessary or are actively like damaging society, and we could probably be a lot more automated than we already are, and people could be working a lot less than they already are, and we should already have a lot better of a social safety net if funds could be redirected and things were done a lot more efficiently, probably, and people were a lot more cooperative and organized. And I think it is an inevitability. And I think that I'm personally a little bit afraid of the automation conversation until we have a conversation about who is going to own the automation robots. And so we don't just create some kind of underclass of people who are just getting like a little, pittance, and people that just own the mysterious kind of lizard people that own all the robots. That's what I think.
Glad you brought that up. That's basically why I grabbed this book. That's basically the one of the main arguments Peter Fraze makes in it, is that, automation is like a guarantee, but because it's already a thing and it's already, research and development is one of the primary costs for reinvesting capital, right? But with scarcity of resources and rising automation, the number one concern is genocide. And there's a lot of ways that genocide can be enacted, but I'd say it's the number one. I actually say this in the written form of that video, which is a little bit more of a thesis that I'm writing for my master's. But I say that the new symbolization is fundamentally about genocide prevention.
If Amazon already owns the automated robots, we just got to take them back from Amazon. Pew, pew.
Well, okay, so the only incentive for automating is because it's cost effective. And the only reason it becomes cost effective is because human labor becomes too expensive or inefficient. Mm-hmm. And the only way that human labor becomes too expensive is because people organize and demand higher wages. And so there's this constant tug of war. And the thing is like, because of those traps, dividing us up, fracturing communities, and making it so we don't have the abilities to really organize in efficient ways, employers are always winning that one. Like there's gains for workers, but the employers are always winning. And same goes for the landlord class, for the banker class, et cetera. But the thing about it's like, okay, it's almost impossible to talk about the future and be taken seriously by anybody, because how can you know? And it's like, well, fucking duh. But we do know climate change is a thing, and we do know that other forms of resource scarcity are a thing because capitalism is built on infinite growth on a finite planet. And we do know that automation is rising. And we do know that people are demanding higher wages, living wages. And there's a lot of different reasons why automation is increasing, including just obviously like actual just technological evolution. So the number one concern is not so I'm not like, I don't think like it's like, oh, employers are all going to turn around and say, let's fucking kill the people that aren't working, who are demanding like a basic living, you know, wage or whatever. It's the scarier thing is that at the point that it's becoming a serious problem, more of the billionaire class are going to be saying, yeah, universal basic income. Okay. Which means that they get to maintain the power and control. And ultimately they're going to want to do that within the nation that is more privileged, and the rest of the world be damned. And the rhetoric of pseudo populists like Trump is just going to be more and more. It's going to resonate with more and more people as people feel more threatened by the non-worker. And so this is why workerism is potentially scary, right? Like, and it's why I'm always just kind of like, I don't really want to get into this because it requires so much research. I don't want to say something that's going to piss off a lot of comrades, but like, it's like for Marx, like the answer was workers owning things, workers controlling things. But what we're talking about with automation is not workers anymore. It's about the new bourgeoisie is going to be the workers if we're in a situation where the non-workers is significantly larger than something that is simply an industrial reserve army, like how Marx talks about the unemployed, right? Like if you have masses of people who are being forced to migrate because of climate change or other kinds of scarcity in resources, and everyone's feeling super threatened about their jobs, like it just has to be like, this is not just workers anymore. It's about like, hey, we've built these systems, maybe they should benefit everybody.
I agree, Tell Ahmed. I agree with what you said, Dave, and Tell us followed up another question about how civil disobedience will be meaningless if no one is working. Like I said, right now we have the kind of shared, kind of, you know, collective bargaining of our labor, that negotiating power, which we won't have if they don't give a shit about our labor because the robots are doing our labor. And we can't be like, oh, workers strike because the robots aren't going to strike, right? That's why before that happens, before automation gets that crazy, we have to work really, really hard to kind of create some class consciousness between people.
And it's going to be a long, long time before everything is fully automated. We're going to have huge sectors of jobs that are going to be automated fairly soon, but there's time for us to kind of start, like, it's not like something like with the climate where like shit is already kind of fucked, so we don't have a lot of time to fix it. But with automation, like, we see the problem coming pretty far ahead, and we actually have time to make adjustments. But if we sleep on it, like global warming.
Also, though, a lot of the jobs that are going to get automated first tend to be like really
Repetitive.
Yeah, but they also tend to be jobs like agricultural jobs, like truck driving jobs, like coal jobs, like factory jobs, like auto factory jobs. And these are like people that vote red like a lot of the time, and these are people that like could easily be talked to about like kind of socialism and things like that. But these are also people that for some reason right now are easily getting like radicalized to kind of this like proto-fascist Trump movement. They're like watching too much Tucker Carlson at the end of the night, you know? So it's like, it is further down the road, but the people that are already getting displaced by like the early, you know, automation, we also need to kind of get on like talking to them about what we got to do about it already. At the same time, truck drivers are next for sure.
For sure.
Totally. So not just truck drivers, but heart surgeons.
Yeah.
There's already machines that are more effective than heart surgeons at replacing hearts. And
I also read about the machines that are gonna replace a ton of like clothing factory people that like make clothing and kind of clothing factories in like a lot of the global south.
That will probably be a good thing.
I don't know. I mean, good thing.
It's a huge child labor sector.
Yeah, but then I don't know. It's complicated. It's going to be good and then also bad and then good and then bad.
Kiwi just summed up the whole everything. You solved all the problems. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be bad. So I just want to say, like, radical reviewer is asking like really hard questions in there, and I think that that's a different conversation that's going on. I don't think that's like just directed to like us, but like, and by the way, like, if they want to join, like, they could hop in here. But anyway, for okay, role of gun ownership in politics and political. Okay, one of the hard questions was directed at me. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were asking those to someone else or whatever. Okay, I would just say that like I am 100% for making it more difficult for people to have guns laying around the house, and for people who are how should we say, like, I don't know, violent offenders to have firearms, or maybe people like with who are on a lot of medication. It's just not a good time for them to have them. I'm also like super for being like, okay, go for it. We should probably be training people in gun safety and ownership, and equipping marginalized communities, especially, and mainly leftists everywhere. Absolutely. Because it's a scary world we live in, and the police are not our friends. And but at the same time, I also say infiltrate normie organizations in there. And I was thinking about the implications of that, and no one asked me like the hardest question. It's like, what do you mean? So does that mean the police? Does that mean the military? And I'm not going to say it doesn't. And I'm also not going to say it doesn't mean like not working for Amazon. And that was some of the hard questions that my friend was putting to me last night. And I was like, because she thinks that she's been a huge leftist for like 10 years, and she's become really disillusioned with not having money, because there's been too many times where she was dependent on other people, but with some money, she's been able to help other people. And so in terms of being a person who's living super on the margins like she is, and I'm not going to go into all the details right now, but she sees like being financially competent within the system and having means is absolutely necessary, and you don't want to alienate people who are. And I understand like why that's a problem, because like I've experienced trying to court donors in the past for previous things that I've done, and I know how people act when they've got a little bit of money and they know that you want it, and like they just want to like fucking wield crazy power and influence over any nonprofit or nonprofit oriented endeavor. But with that being said, like at the same time, it really just, the thing about money is that it's abstract. It's like, where the fuck is it coming from? How's it working? Like at this point, it's just printed. Like it's no longer true that like money is literally you're holding exploited labor, right? It's backed up by the violence of the state and of our empire. But I don't know. I don't think that you're inherently immoral or like incapable of being a part of like the cause that is in a part of this multi-generational struggle if you think that that's necessary. But like I said, this is all very like trying to think through it all still. So
I don't know how I feel about guns. I remember, Dave, one time you told me that you think that we should change the gun laws so normies can't get guns, but everyone should just get guns the other ways anyway.
We should have a rule where like things I say in like personal conversations are not on the channel. I'm just kidding. That's totally fine.
Somebody told me that.
I stand behind it as like that feels like a good idea. And I know people who are like super Antifa, like Oregon dwellers. I won't say exactly where, but like that is their whole life, is training people gun safety. But one of the people who's doing that just got shot like a couple months ago because a cop was bullying him, and so he pulled a gun, and the other cop shot him. And I am like one person removed from that person. I'd never met the person firsthand, but like I've seen like the harm it caused, and I'm seeing it, and it sucks. So yeah. I don't think that means that we shouldn't be. I think that how are you going to be anti-fascist without guns when fascists fucking love guns?
Yeah,
I don't think we can hand flowers to fucking neo-Nazis. I just don't believe that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chrissy or Mikey?
We haven't heard from Mikey yet. Mikey?
Mikey.
Hi,
Is that his name?
everyone.
Hello.
I was wondering who you were. Hi, Mikey.
Hi. I'm a friend of Dave's.
Cool, nice to meet you. I'm Kiwi.
That's a very humble thing to say. This is the fucking Raytown gadfly, Socrates himself.
Oh, whatever.
Mike
No,
has
you
a
know-
blog called The Dangerous Maybe. It's on Medium. He's not going to talk himself up, so I'll do it. But I would say he's spent more time reading philosophy and theory than anyone I've met, and that goes beyond professors and that I've met, and then also has spent more time trying to figure out commonsensical ways of talking about it to friends at the bar, kind of a thing. So anyway, I really appreciate his work, but but we're just friends. So I was actually just rewatching that video of you today where you're asking Zizek. Yes. Hold on. Who's Catherine? Yeah, Zizek. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, hey, Black Goat. But anyway, we'll get to the Zizek Peterson question that Catherine's been sitting on. But anyway, I was just saying, okay, so if you go searching for the Zizek responds
Cut the ball.
to the Cut the Balls music video parody. Mikey and I were the ones who arranged that. We were in Athens, Georgia for a conference. Mikey drove himself there. I flew with school funds and we met up. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, it was just like, we were just dying to ask that question because if you've seen it, it's hilarious. It's an amazing parody video that this one person did of Zizek. Whether you like him or not, it's just a great video. And yeah, Chrissy's got to go soon, but I'll just say that Mikey asked the question and I got the footage and it's on YouTube. You can find it. But anyway.
Hey, the only thing I would like to add right now is I just want to say that I think what LeftTube is doing is very important. And I think it's starting to fill a void, right? You're talking about, he talks about how what the event does is it fills a void in a situation. That's how the novel emerges. That's how the new emerges. And in some sense, we're all living in the fallout of the post-war consumer society with that type of pop culture. People can't consume the way they used to. You can't, there's no malls to really, if there is one still left in your area, and nobody has the money to just blow at the mall all the time. The old kind of pop culture is a thing of the past. And young Americans in particular are really hungry and searching for something. And I think LeftTube is starting to fill this void, that something's happening. Young Americans don't want to do the stupid consumer anti-intellectual shit that the boomers did. And a lot of, my fellow Xers were all about, myself included, early on. And LeftTube is starting to kind of culture. And I think that's what's important about it more than anything. It's not that everybody agrees on all the topics or the ideas. It's that a new kind of pop culture is starting to emerge. And I think that's the most exciting thing for me about it is America in particular. I mean, you could say the West, generally speaking, but America in particular has been so stuck in this pop culture regime for, since the World War II ended. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm seeing a radical shift in what pop culture could become. And it's not going to be people immediately sitting around reading Zizek or Baudrillard or Deleuze and getting into philosophy that way. Somebody has to bridge that gap. Somebody has to come in and get people acquainted with ideas and thinking through different presuppositions and thinking through counterintuitive positions. And that's where I think YouTubers like you, everybody here, has a part to play. I think that's what's really important about what I'm seeing happening on YouTube.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I feel that. Chrissy, do you want to say any closing remarks before you got to go?
Well, congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. I think it was it a narco pack the other day who was talking about how she had however many subscribers she has now, and she's like, there were entire really significant publications, like anarchist publications, that have set the tone for years that didn't have the kind of reach that a YouTuber has now. So I do think that even though we're still in many ways small, you know, and even the biggest ones, if you think about them, aren't huge.
They're not.
Like, so, but we don't need huge. We need we need the leverage point of getting the right messages to the right people at the right times, and it can go from there. And it's it can have exponential growth. And I generally agree with most of the things that have been said here. So I think we're good shape. It's almost 1 o'clock though for me. So 1 in the morning. So I do get tired and I gotta go. But it was really cool talking to y'all, and we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining. We'll go for another 18 minutes, which will put us at close to
Okay.
Oh, no?
I haven't eaten
Thank
in
you
2
for
hours.
joining us, Chrissy. It was so nice to meet you again.
Cool.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yes. Same to everybody here. All right. Bye.
Bye. I will follow that up like immediately by just saying that I did not read nonfiction before college, and I did not go to college until like what is called non-traditional, like a non-traditional point in my 20s. And so I want to just say that like video was my primary mode of like education, and that when Occupy was happening and I was a necky beard libertarian, and I went, except that I couldn't grow one, but you know, but when I went trying to find out information about Occupy, there was nothing positive on YouTube. And that was the first place I went. And I didn't really do much more looking around besides that. And it was like through the process of studying political philosophy under mostly conservative professors, and realizing that I had to go digging to really find like more leftist like perspectives on my own in an extracurricular way, that I like found other things. And so it was not easily come by, like this kind of knowledge for me. And some people, especially like on Twitter and places like that, oh my God, especially Facebook, especially like, yeah, left book, have like this, like, oh, it's all obvious. Like everything that we believe is just obvious and you fucking toe the line or fuck you. And the thing is like, for me, it was like, nothing's ever been obvious and it's all hard won, you know, realizations. A lot of them are very sobering. And so I don't know. I think that education is super important. And I just wanted to say, following up from Mikey and Chrissy, that, yeah, I am super encouraged that it's getting to the point now where if someone's genuinely interested in something like another Occupy, they'll have so many more resources, and people will be able to make boss fucking playlists. I try to make some playlists just mostly for myself, but also just so I can turn family members on them when they ask me questions like, oh, well, what do you think about Dave Rubin? I'm like, well, I've got a playlist for that, you know? That's super empowering. Finally, Catherine, it's been waiting forever. I don't know. Some people here are going to disagree with me, but Zizek versus Peterson. Now, first of all, I started this semester off by saying that I'm not giving Peterson any more attention, and so I'm literally not going to watch the debate. I get it. It's kind of dumb. It would be a big hype thing to like focus that right now. But I can talk about him. I'm not going to give him any more attention though. I fucking did that. And then Catherine asked about like, did Zizek maybe do this because of JPCon? No, I asked Zizek when I met him to debate Peterson at JPCon, and he said he would fucking do it, and then he couldn't because he was too sick. And I'm a little jaded that like when I had my sleeves rolled up and I was willing to do the work, he wasn't able to, and now he's doing it for someone else. Oh well, in my opinion, I think Wolf was better suited for responding to that audience.
Yeah.
I think that there's too much overlap between Peterson fans and Zizek fans in some cases because, like I said, Paul Joseph Watson could change on economics tomorrow and be a really fucking scary person, and that's because it's really easy to take on workerist rhetoric like Tucker Carlson proves, while not caring about the actual things that structure class, and the actual things that structure class are gender and sexual orientation and everything that constitutes normativity and how people are ostracized or excluded from normativity. So I think that there are things I like about Zizek, and they're mostly like the work that he does theoretically. I also just like him on a interpersonal like level. Meeting him was the first time I've been starstruck, and I've met a lot of people. I wasn't even starstruck to meet Wolf, but there's something about Zizek when you actually meet him where it's like, this dude is on some fucking, it's not cocaine. He's got some energy, you know, some like, he's a force to be reckoned with. And there's like awesome, crazy uncle vibes. He's fucking Rick to my Morty, and he's a living Lacan. And so for all those reasons, like, great. But also he's got like cringeworthy uncle takes that made sense in the 90s. But I just, and the thing is, he's not plugged into current, what I consider true leftist discourses. And so like I'm just saying, like, God damn it. I wish that,
Yeah, he if I can interject for a second, he just does like his, I feel like the debate could even get to the point where they just kind of do like a little kind of posturing at each other about how they both hate PC culture or something, because Zizek has that side to him, and I'd be really annoyed if that happened. So yeah,
it's definitely like a good thing though if at the end of the day he's able to show a lot of the more well-meaning Peterson fans that there's a wide variety of your dad / your uncle types. Your dad being a reference to that transphobic video by Philosophy Tube. But yeah, there's a wide variety of them, including ones who understand that not every communist totalitarianism underwrites or undermines like all leftist stances. Like that's a good thing that people can hear. And so more people will ultimately hear that, and that's good. Also, like if a lot of people get turned on to more radical theory, then like cool.
I'll say this.
I was waiting for.
Yeah, it can very easily be very boring. I almost want to liken it to what happened with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao when they fought. Like there was so much hype for this fight, and then you get it and it's kind of a dud, and everybody was like, well, why were we so excited in the first place? Look, if they get up and they start talking about Marxism, okay, maybe something good can happen there. There's, like Kaylee said, there's that chance that they're going to connect on the PC thing. We know Zizek has strong animosity to that, which, as you said, we've talked about it, Dave. In the 90s, it made sense because there was zero class analysis in it at all. And when he likens it to a bribe, like, we'll do, identity politics so long as we never have to bring in any economics. There was a point to it in the 90s, but like we've talked about, after Occupy, everybody I know on the left understands that economics is essential here. So that's where you can say he's outdated. The thing, I mean, personally, if they they discuss anything, I hope it goes to just the fundamental differences between their psychoanalytic orientations. Because if it goes there, Zizek will eat his ass alive on Lacan versus Jung.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Fuck Jung.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about Jung.
It's taken me like 4 years. It's taken me 4 years of hemming and hawing and being like, well, maybe there's something here. And like, I really, I've just got like some old, like new agey kind of like attachments to collective unconscious and stuff, but fuck Jung. And it's not just Jordan Peterson that makes me say that. And I will just say that I've got a couple of Jungians who I fucking respect, and I really do. But I am okay being friends with people who I fundamentally disagree with on theoretical issues. And the thing about Jung is that from a classical, and you don't have to be a classical Marxist, but just from any kind of Marxist position, the Jung is pure fetishization of material relations. He's completely mystifying real world things and giving us fucking dreamy, archetypey, fucking bullshit. Yeah.
And that's my hope.
Sorry, go ahead, Mikey.
No, I did that's
some shared thoughts on, yeah, but we'll come back to that. Yeah.
That's my hope for the debate. And if it does go there, Zizek will eat his ass alive. He'll devastate him when it comes to psychoanalytic fundamentals.
I agree. I agree 100%. And I was just going to say, I definitely, like, when I first started getting into like philosophy and psychology, I definitely got way too hung up on Jung also for some reason. And yeah, and then kind of having that framework when I first heard Peterson talk, maybe that's honestly what like pulled me out of like when I was kind of like a libertarian shithead. I was like hearing Peterson talk and just how much of garbled nonsense it sounded, and being like, well, everyone likes him so much, but he's just like this emperor is so naked. And hearing like takedowns of him that went so well is literally what pulled like my head out of my ass. And I know that like, yeah, if they're able to tear into that a little bit, like, yeah, he'll just get destroyed. So I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I really, really liked Peterson at first because of his Maps of Meaning course, specifically for because I considered him harmless when I first encountered him. And it seemed like the thing of value there was that he was popularizing phenomenology, pragmatism, existentialism, psychoanalysis. Holy shit, Americans don't know anything about those 4 schools of thought, but he doesn't either.
Well, and something that I've said to you before, Dave, also, is that I also saw in Peterson like just like a barely masked, like seething hatred of women that I don't know was like so just obvious to me or something, that I was just like, what? Why is everybody like? And then if you tried to like confront him on it, he would just like say, oh, that's not really what I said. You're taking it out of context. So that's not like what I meant. And I was just like, okay, this is just ridiculous. And I felt like I was the only one, because I would try to bring it up to other people that liked Peterson, or people who I would like hang out with who like kind of agreed with me on other things, like who also, you know, were libertarians like I was at the time. And they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're overreacting. And then now they're like, okay, yeah, that's ridiculous that he said that you can't control crazy women because if you disagree with a man, you can just punch him and fight and then you're all fine, but you can't do that with a woman. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like stuff like that. I don't even know. I don't even know.
It's been so long since I felt like I could just punch a quote unquote man.
Yeah, I don't even
when I was 15. when I was outside of shows when I was like 19. No. Like what is this? What is he talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, who's Jordan Peterson fighting? Like, does he punch people he disagrees with? Imagine fighting someone, like just putting up his dukes. Like, is that really what he's doing? I don't know.
Big talk from somebody who got his ass kicked by a rain.
And by apple cider.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think
meeting where he talks about the rain, the bird swooping down on him, and like basically whipping his ass.
Yeah, the bird, like how he tried to talk to it,
Talks about yeah,
and it then came and like pecked at him or whatever.
yep.
That's
That was
like,
my
yeah.
favorite part.
Yeah, the bird's like, I tried my bird calls, and the bird got really pissed.
I guess I should make a personal plug.
The bird's like, I tried my bird calls, and the bird got really pissed.
I guess I should make a personal plug. Why is there this terrible lag all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's weird.
Than me.
It's not. Oh, I see why. Oh,
You did it.
How did I do that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay, I got it. I stopped it. Jeez. Okay, that was super weird. I'll just say, like, personal plug wise, but there, if you're into Peterson criticism, I have a growing playlist on my channel. You're already here, so just check it out. In that, you will find the author of this book. It's one of the worst quality videos, but like we're in this room actually. Is it? No, we're in a different room. Yeah. But anyway, we have him on to talk about how Jordan Peterson basically doesn't like contend with any of the most pressing issues of our time, the kinds of ones that we were talking about at the beginning of this broadcast. You'll also find Emily Potest fucking wrecking him on his takes on mythology. You'll find our friend Marilyn wrecking him on Jung, because she's one of the Jungians I said I respect. And basically she just shows how he doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. I gave a talk about how he doesn't know what he's talking about when he talks about Nietzsche and ressentiment or resentment. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I also explain like what it actually is and how it's super important for understanding how people in the intellectual dark web take advantage of and exploit our fundamental like base needs. We have needs to feel like we're not stupid. We have needs to feel like we're not bad. And as a result, the peddlers of in-group, out-group ideologies want to make us feel morally and intellectually superior on the cheap. Basically through interpassivity, which is one of those concepts Zizek talks about, where basically you're getting something for doing nothing, but you're kind of getting the illusion that you're doing something, like how canned laughter functions to make you feel like you're laughing along, even though you're literally too tired to laugh. That's Zizek's famous example. Well, interpassively, these guys perform rationality for us in a way where we don't have to roll up our sleeves and really work through our fundamental presuppositional frameworks or assumptions. We don't have to really critically interrogate the society we live in. They just peddle like this sort of pseudo rationality and do it in a way that's exploiting this base need to feel like we're intellectually and morally okay, right? And like there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel that, but like, yeah, selling people that they just are for doing fucking absolutely nothing is one of the problems. Hello.
Hello, the building is closed.
Oh, okay.
I would suggest Albertson's library.
Yeah, we're in a live broadcast right now. We'll be out of here in about
A few minutes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
In 2 minutes. Thank you. The building is not closed for another minute.
Get out of my room!
Get out of my room! The building is not closed for another minute. She was acting like it's been closed for 10 minutes.
She's standing outside listening to us.
Oh, maybe she likes Peterson. All right. But anyway, I do hate being here when they close. So we probably got to go. But I really appreciate everybody for being able to join.
Thanks for the comments. I've just been sitting here reading, kind of reading them. They've been good. Yeah.
Thanks for having the live stream, and thanks for including me in your video. I had a great time.
Cool.
Congrats on 1,000 subscribers, and good to meet you, Kaylee.
Thank you. Also, Black Goat 666. I'm sure a lot of your comments have been awesome. I'm sure all of these comments have been awesome. I see that like Catherine and Honestly Marketing and Max have been talking a lot, but yeah, I haven't been able to keep up with any of this. I do plan on coming back and looking these over later because these comments ultimately always do something to shape how I will respond to things in the future. So if I didn't get on it now, I will someday. So
Okay.
I need a sign off phrase. How about this one? Goodbye.